Hey everyone, my name is Andy, your chess streamer today. Today's the finals, Duke versus Carnegie Mellon. Yesterday coming off of a strong performance against Waterloo. And hoping to take down Carnegie Mellon today as well. Starting to look at Ben's game, Ruy Lopez. Pretty standard. There's Morphe's defense, and now just very standard C3 development, maybe eventually going for D4. Looks pretty solid. Today, Ben is actually playing the Duke Pan Am's qualification, as well as Gordon. Pretty cool. We're sending one team to Pan Am's this year. Last year we had two. But, yeah. Should be a pretty relaxing day. Relaxing matchup. Duke is up on rating technically, with Ben, Barnabas, and Gordon all being above 2,300 on chess.com. And Leo being a 2,200. So, should be pretty exciting. This position looks pretty standard, pretty boring. Looks like Carnegie Mellon also has a National Master. Let's see how he's doing against Duke's FM. Of course, we got the Knight F3. I've seen this like 50 times. And the NM just a little bit confused on what to do here. Excuse me. Wow, very interesting play, trying to go for the side of the board. Typically, I learned to go for the center of the board, but I guess he's higher rated than me. Bishop to b7, saying, okay, I'm going to push c5 eventually. Looks pretty standard. This is a little bit weird. I guess Black was hoping that White would take on b5 and obviously open up the bishop, so Barnabas obviously not going to do that. This is the Prezopiorka variation of the Indian game. Very, very interesting. Let's take a look at Gordon. French defense, c4, an exchange in the center. White now has an isolated pawn. And yeah, it looks like a very normal isolated queen's pawn position, but Black has the knight that can very easily reroute to d5 once the queen moves. There's some pressure along the f3 square. I mean, just standard rook development should be in play here for Gordon. Yeah, looking pretty normal. Let's take a look at Leo's game. Looks like it's a little bit more progressed. Looks like there's some sort of Slavish. Nope, Grunfeld. I'm stupid. Grunfeld. Okay, Leo say I'm just gonna go for this G3 stuff. Not trying to be fancy. Sacrifice on C4 for the big center. Very standard. Bishop F4. Excuse me. Looks like Black's bishop here on E6 is a little bit awkward. I guess the idea is once the knight moves, the bishop can come to H3. Whether the knight wants to go to B6 is probably not because of A5, but I mean, maybe Black plays first A5 to prevent White from playing A5 and then lodges the knight on B6. But the position on B6 is kind of bad, so I don't know why he would do that. Rook to E8 seems a bit miscellaneous. Probably saying, okay, after I get my bishop out of here, I can push E5 or something. Let's stick with Leo for a little bit. Yesterday, he was my replacement. He did pretty well. He got 2 points. And now he's playing again. Leo up on the clock. Very solid. What would I do in this position as White? I mean, is this pawn push ever possible? I guess it's possible right now. But doesn't really help White at all since, you know, this pawn's undoubled and the queen can defend it. I'm trying to figure out a way to win the pawn. Maybe something like knight to d2. And then if bishop here, obviously you can just block that, and there's no real way to defend this pawn other than, again, knight b6, which is just going to get kicked away. But the question for Leo is that the plan that he wants to go for? I mean, other than that, he does have a good center, so he could simply just like improve his pieces. Maybe something like rook to c1, h4. I guess try to break down the king side, also trying to prevent g5. Knight to f8, probably looking for after g5 he can bring the knight in. But just a simple rook c1, and we're going to collect this pawn eventually. After this knight relocates, maybe there's some e5, knight to e4 ideas. No decisive results yet, but Ben in a bit of time trouble against Chess Dudu. Again, Roa Lopez develop into a standard middle game with I guess a sort of sacrifice on e5 here. What's going on here? Is this not just a free pawn? I mean, if you take, you can take with the queen, you have to take with the bishop. I mean, Stockfish giving +2 here. There might be some tactic or something. I mean, after d5, this knight has to go to the edge, so that's not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, you take it and you just win a pawn, I think. Stockfish disliking this, saying this is equal. There must have been some sort of tactic after knight to f6 that I can't see. But now after knight d7, the only thing that Ben needs is to get back ahead on time. He spent 3 minutes on knight to f6. You're not exactly too sure. Bishop f4, really trying to hold on to this pawn. If white can hold on to this pawn, then he's just up a queen pawn. Can black get this bishop into the game anyhow? I don't think so. I think what black is simply saying, okay, I'm just going to leave the pawn here, get my knight to a better position in the center, re-attack your bishop, and maybe go for some long-term plays. Okay, no, he's actually definitely trying to go to g6 to fork. And yeah, that looks like a pretty solid plan for black. Looks still like a pretty normal middle game. Bishop to b3. Trying to target this weak f7 pawn. Also pinning it, so could be some problems. Ben saying, okay, I just get out of here. Like, bitch, just get out of here. And, you know, maybe the bishop will go back to c2. It's sort of like a free move if the knight wants to turn to c6. But the knight can also go to c4. Attacking both the b2 pawn and this pawn. Ben playing g5. I mean, that looks like you can sort of almost, you kind of want to sack on g5 there. Like maybe some knight takes or bishop takes. But not sure if Chess Dudu is willing to do that. At the end of the day, it's just weakening black's king. I mean, you give 2 holes for this g3 knight. I mean, f5 looks especially annoying, given that the bishop sort of cuts through this way. And now even if the pawn falls, the bishop can maybe get on this diagonal. f6 is also weakened. I'm not sure I like g5 too much. But Ben arguing that advantages outweigh the disadvantages and probably saying, okay, I'm going to go knight to c4 next. And wow. Did not expect e takes. Rook takes made a lot more sense now. Now forking 3 of the pawns. Stockfish still liking white, but definitely more confusing. After knight to f5, rook to e6 has to defend the pawn, can't go king g7 or here, and now maybe this rook's coming like here or something. This pawn is also hanging, but after takes here check, I mean, it looks kind of weird. Yeah, rook to b6, defending from afar. This pawn is still hanging. e6. The knight develops, hanging the h6 pawn. And yeah, Ben definitely doesn't want to take here to open up the rook. Actually, no, this is a threat because the rook will take on h6 next. So probably just some knight f5 or, yeah, knight f5, and then now you definitely don't want to take here. Taking on b2, waiting the pawn back. But at the end of the day, Ben's king is very exposed. We have a decisive result. Barnabas able to take down the NM using his famous opening. A simple resignation. We'll look at this after Ben's game finishes. Leo falling to Carnegie's first board. And wow, it looks like there was a blunder of what just happened here? Yeah, it looks like there was just a blunder of the pawn of the knight here, probably having to try to flag Ben. Instead, now Ben just completely up a bishop, and this is just easily winning endgame. Yeah, this should be very smooth sailing for Ben. Let's take a look at the last game, Gordon versus Jeremy. A king and pawn endgame that's completely winning for Black because he's up a pawn. Gordon, let's see if he's able to convert this position. Seems like he simply just needs to get one passed pawn and it's going to be over. There's going to be eventually some Zugzwang play that happens. And yeah, here, this is very interesting. This makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're just going to promote faster. And after takes, this is completely winning for Black as well. So it looks like we're going to have a 3 versus 1 in the first round. Good for Duke. Starting off very strong. With Barnabas, Ben, and Gordon getting points. The 2300 is really critical here. And yeah, maybe just queen takes h5. Yeah, and now after... Oh, he doesn't even need to do that. The queen is on h6, defending the mate square. You can just get a queen. And there's a resignation. So a strong showing from Duke from the first round. Only Leo, the alternates, getting taken down. Let's take a look at this game real quick, just to see what happened. There was this French thing that we saw. There was the isolated pawn. I wonder if that isolated pawn was the one pawn that Gordon needed to secure the winning king and pawn endgame. It looks like there were some tactics here. Obviously, rook cannot take because of the back rank issues, forcing a trade of queens. And then after opening up, Black is simply up a pawn, and there's pawn issues. The king side here. So after this is already done. A very, very clean game here. Winning the isolated d pawn and then winning the king pawn endgame. Very clean by Gordon. In terms of Barnabas's game. Excuse me. Looks like there was some opening up of the A file, the bishop on b7 getting utility. This rook doing some odd dancing here, but that's alright. Looks like this rook is just so weird on b2. I mean, you rarely see a fiend cut on a rook, but Black's king is much more exposed. After rook e1, I mean, this rook probably is coming into the game soon. After 95, knight g5, knight e4. I mean, the attack is pretty hard, and then after here, I mean, you can't defend the bishop, so that's just winning the piece. And Barney's saying, okay, I'm just going to, because this is mate, right? So the queen can't move. And this is just, what the? Whoa, this queen is hanging. Oh, utilizing this fact that this pawn is under so much threat, the queen can't get off this back rank. And after knight here, simply a rook takes knight, and he throws in the towel because he just hung a knight and you can't take. Also a very clean game by Barnabas there. Very cool. Let's see when the next round starts. Internet slow as always. Yeah, I'm gonna get some water during this break. I'll be right back. Looks like some new game has started. Let's take a look at Barney's game. Looks like it was some Banco gambit. Banco, a6 fully accepted, going into a very main line with this and then g3. This is all very standard. a4, I love going for this line. Rook a6 is something I don't see too often. Probably trying to get the queen doubled up on a8 very quickly. And then after knight b5, which is what I like to play, with this a4 knight b5 setup here, queen on a is susceptible to knight c7, bishop d2, knight g4, bishop c3, knight e5. This is, again, very normal. Getting this knight into supporting some c4 push, knight c4 or c4. Yeah, c4 and then knight here. And I mean, you can still play c4 and go for some knight c5 here. But at the end of the day, there's some f5 coming. So you want to play Barney decides to play f5 first, trying to open up this. I mean, this pawn is very solid, so there's not that much worry along this diagonal. And yeah, though white is just simply up a pawn, the position is very confusing, very dynamic play. If f4, there could be some issues with this e3 square. I wonder if that'll ever come into play. Let's take a look at Ben's game. A standard Queen's Gambit decline with knight c3. This is like a Terashi position. But we got this knight takes and then e4. I mean, this is usually typically pretty good for white. This almost looks like some sort of like Grunfeld where like this happens, but obviously it's not a Grunfeld since there's no fianchetto. And white simply has a huge center. The d4 pawn is a little bit exposed, but I mean, you do have the entire center to play with. This bishop on e2, maybe Ben will try and improve that soon. Maybe there's some dreams of attacking, but the position looks pretty tame at the moment. Black's fully developed, and this bishop can become important later on, aiming at the white king side. Cool. Let's take a look at Gordon's game. Gordon a little bit down on time against Chess Studio. Chess Studio was kind of demolishing Ben in the last one, but blundered at the end. Gordon going for a 4 knights game. Bishop e2, symmetrical, d5. This is like a Scotch. This is just like so like standard. It's boring. We have this fianchetto here. I mean, I don't know much about e4 openings, but it seems a little bit weird. Probably not relieving the tension here because you want to open up this diagonal in the long run. But yeah, after bishop b7, Gordon's saying, okay, I'm going to close these 2 pawns up because there was some pressure here. And, you know, obviously the knight has to return to b8. But, I mean, I guess the knight's just going to come to d7. Maybe c5 will hit. This bishop on b2, I don't really know how I feel about it. I guess it didn't have many good squares on the king side either. Takes, the knight's in the center, knight's exchanged, b4, c4. And yeah, up to present, that black now has a backwards d-pawn after the exchanges. Bishop here is still a little bit suspect. I mean, black is definitely trying to push d5 at some point. And when that happens, white needs to be ready. Maybe just jumping, maybe white doesn't care because the knight can just go to c5. But it seems pretty thematic to try and put a knight on e3 to guard here, and sort of. So maybe this knight will get rerouted soon. Rook's obviously going to get developed to these files, looking pretty standard. White doesn't have any problems. Black still has this to deal with. So. Bishop a6 sort of says, I really don't want you to push a4. Excuse me. This is a pretty smart reroute. Bishop coming to d6 with tempo and the queen. And now the rooks are probably coming in. Yeah, rook to c1, and then eventually rook to d1. And I mean, play is pretty normal for white. The question is what you're doing with this light squared bishop here. Maybe bishop to g5 at some point. Doesn't seem like seems like a pretty nice diagonal, but yeah, black sort of has to just be aware that, you know, this type of thing can happen. Queen to d5, preventing the push in this knight. Yeah, wow, this is kind of funny. After the bishop goes to e7, you're not letting the knight get there anymore, so the queen can be safe on d5. And from d5, this bishop activates attacking the b5 pawn, and also the rook can come in. Furthermore, this knight not just hanging? Because after here, there's bishop here, and then rook takes. Because after takes, you take the queen. What? And we see it. Chess Studio throwing again. I mean, good for Duke. I mean, I don't give a fuck. But, I mean, even I saw that one. Yeah, and now this bishop can't even move because then the queen is just going to take on b5. So, Gordon, simply taking advantage of blunders in a relatively stable position, has able to be just up a piece. Chess Studio now under severe psychological pressure. And not only is he up a piece, he's also up a million pawns, as well as 2 connected passers. The only thing that has to happen is Gordon has to not blunder something egregious, and this should be another winning game. Good for Gordon. Let's move on to Leo. See how Leo's doing here. This was a Sicilian. I haven't seen Leo play a Sicilian before. A e5 early. We have this backwards d pawn, but white castling king side, not going for some opposite side castling stuff. And wow, what the? Wow, what the hell? Black sacking his rook, despite not having not having a thing to attack. Still sacking it for that knight because the knight can come to d5. And now, I mean, yes, white is on a big exchange. Black does have the bishop pair. And he sacks the knight back. So now it's 2 bishops for a rook. And yeah, I mean, there's immediate pressure on c2. I mean, I think that 2 bishops are way better than the rook in this position. The question is, given the time, is Leo going to be able to convert this against the National Master? National Master not having a great day, losing against Barnabas as well. Is he going to lose to our reserve? And yeah, Leo playing very solid. Look at these bishops. Look at how nice this pattern is here. I can't even finish it. And the bishop's guarding a lot of these entry squares and just winning a pawn here. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all 4 of these squares are completely safe. And the bishops do an excellent job at controlling the rook's open files. This is brilliant, and only someone just has to blunder. And yeah, we're starting to break down the king side here. The question is, do you want to... It looks like Leo really doesn't want to go into just 2 bishops versus a rook. Probably opting to keep pieces on the board to get more... activity here. Let's see how Gordon can... Or not Gordon, sorry. I keep saying Gordon. Leo can finish this. I mean, there was some bishop... Oh. I mean, was there some bishop to here that last move winning the exchange back? I don't know how I feel about this move. It sort of stops the nice fortress that was going on. But yeah, both parties in relatively timed trouble. Leo with significantly more time, however. And yeah, at the end of the day here, Leo's playing it very safe, saying, I'm not going to blunder anything, my bishops are very solid here. And just playing this game nice and slowly. I'm not blundering any forks. And yet now, as long as the bishops are aligned, the rook can't really fork, and now just bishop to c6. And I mean, this pawn should be... Oh, and there's the game. I mean, that was bound to happen eventually. So, Leo taking down the National Master, Barney taking down the other guy, Gordon taking down Chess Dudu. I mean, we're already at 6 points. This is just a bloodbath here. Wait. Oh, Ben hasn't won yet. If Ben can win this one, I mean, it's the game. The match is pretty much over in 2 rounds. Ben is white, so it looks like he's not doing too amazing. This is a theoretical draw, according to the table base, but it's easier said than done for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's very classic to keep the king completely cut off, and the idea is there's no way to break through. So given this draw, it's going to be 6.5. And it could even be a win for white if black isn't careful about, not losing the king and pawn versus king endgame. Because this G4 pawn is falling, and then, yeah, black's saying, okay, I don't want to do this. I mean, this is still a draw. But I don't know what Ben is. I wonder if he's trying to push it for a win. He pushed too hard last time, almost shit his pants, and did shit the game. I mean, he lost against someone in a clearly drawn position. I think he should just take this right now and and just say, okay, it's going to be a draw. I think he's hoping that black blunders, but I don't know why he's just wasting time here. It's going to be a threefold at some point. Finally decided to take, and now saying, okay, obviously, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why black is playing so riskily here, allowing the pawn to, and then obviously white coming here, and maybe Ben could actually win this position, which would be hilarious. It's almost me, honestly. And yeah, wow. Horrible endgame technique by black. I feel like this is like almost winning. Is this just a build a bridge type scenario? I don't know if... No, that's just rook takes f7. No! Wait. What? Wait, rook takes f7. Check here. Wait, what? Oh, he can't go here because he's in here. And now rook to... Oh, that's nasty. That's nasty. Oh, Jeremy SK is probably kicking himself in the nuts here. And let's see Ben's... Oh my goodness. That's nasty. Wow. I wonder if this is some sort of theoretical position. Oh my god. He thinks for 21 seconds and still comes to the wrong conclusion. I guess the idea is that even if you don't take it, like, what do you do? Wow, Ben, very classy, winning a completely drawn endgame. But yeah, Duke at 7. The only win that Carnegie Mellon has is against Leo in the first round. And they're really in shambles here. I mean, this is the finals of their division, and Carnegie Mellon just completely getting obliterated. Supposedly they beat Vanderbilt yesterday, who was more favorited in terms of rating. At least that's what the guys are talking about. But yeah, that's nice. I mean, it was completely winning, but this king to g8 allowing rook to f7 is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Oh, jeez. Let's look at Gordon's. Oh no, we already saw what happened with Gordon. Gordon won the knight. It was a clean conversion from there. Leo with the bishops. We didn't really look at Barney's game. Let's take a look at that real quick. There's a mate. So it was this Banco, and then... What the... Oh! Typically, Banco positions, at least what I found, is when you're white and you start losing, you really start losing. Like, it just, like, everything tumbles very quickly because black has so much pressure. And yeah, these knights here are just so robust. I'm wondering why you can't do h3, g4 to try and kick away this knight and then take here. Is that not feasible? Oh, the knight can come here. never mind. Knight goes there anyway. And there's a sack of what? He sacked 2 exchanges. For what purpose? Completely unknown. Whoa. Okay, this position is very complicated. Check. Rook here. Queen check. King back. Queen here. Oh, the rook is defended. Oh, I didn't see this rook. Now there's a fork. But, I mean, rook to e2. Getting out of the fork. The queen coming in. Is this not a draw? Wow. Not going for the draw. Instead saying, I'm greedy, I want material. And now, white's king is the one in danger. Oh, Jesus. That's crazy. Beautiful deflection, and then that's simply a mate. Wow, so it was completely drawn, but Carnegie Mellon probably saying that, oh, we need to go for wins, given the state of the other boards, and just throwing the game from there. Looking really quite bad for Carnegie Mellon. Looking like Duke couldn't take home the $1,500. Let's see if the new games have started. Carnegie Mellon still have a chance if they win every single one of their next games. But yeah, wow. A crazy ending. And looks like the next games have started. I mean, my computer is slow as always, so I don't see the games have started until like 13 moves in. Gordon going for a Sicilian. This is like the con variation. One of my friends was saying how good this variation was. Dropping a pawn. Then solidifying the e5 pawn. The king is a little weak on this diagonal. I would want to move it to h1. I don't usually know how I feel about these sort of f4, g3 type positions. I typically like my king to have some safety. But that's because I'm scared. Yeah, immediately taking advantage of this open file. Let's take a look at some of the other games. Ben versus Brokeback, another Grunfeld. Is this another Russian Grunfeld? Yes, it is. a6, e4. Very standard. a6 obviously preventing knight to b5, preventing shenanigans here. b5, queen to d3. This is just so standard that black taking the bishop pair. And yeah. Pressure here on the b pawn. Maybe trying to provoke some b4 push. Where's the knight going after b4? a2? No way. Maybe it's coming to d1 and then rerouting this way. Black taking some serious time here. Probably considering b4. What other moves are there? I mean, e5, I don't know if that existed, but... Okay, yeah, Ben going for this knight to b1, actually. Saying I want to come this way instead. Not a similar idea, but I guess this way you don't disconnect the rooks. Yeah. I wonder if white is arguing that this is a permanent weakness. I mean, after a5 it looks pretty solid. I don't really know. To be honest, this is probably concession, because after a4, because after queen to d6, there's not a really good way to defend b3, so... Stockfish still liking white, but position's not easy. A very standard rune film. Let's look at Barney. Going for a Caro. Really switching it up here. G6. What the hell is this? Okay. What is going on? I mean, you're trying to push E5, of course. What the? I mean, black's position's hella ugly. Jeremy up 2 pawns. There's pressure on E6. I mean, what the? I don't know what he's doing. He's probably just having fun since, you know, we're destroying them. Yeah, I mean, with Duke having 7 points, it seems like it'd be the 3rd round, or the 4th round. But no, it's the 3rd round. Duke has 8 games to get 1.5 points to clinch the victory. Probably not getting many points in this one, given the bishops in the corner. And, like, I don't know, like, this is just completely random. It's so ugly, I want to move on. Let's take a look at Gordon. Gordon, a beast, always. Let's take a look at Cecile. Oh, have we already seen this one? Oh, we were looking at this one. He has a huge knight here. 1 pawn still up. I mean, this knight is just a monster. And how are you even kicking that? This knight takes like 2 moves just to even get there. Yes, white's king is a little bit exposed. But again, with the bishops in the corners, I don't know what it is with the bishop in the corners. Let's take a look at someone else. Ben versus Rosenbach. What happened here? So after knight, he played rook here, and Ben saying you're not going to get a5 in. This knight has to go back. Now after e5, just tempo after tempo, you drop a pawn, but you get e6. Oh, this is a classic. You gotta be careful about this in the Grunfeld. Oh, the knight's coming to, and there's an exchange, and there's another exchange. And it's not even an exchange, just winning a free piece. Attacking the queen, winning the. This is just. Oh my, yeah, that's just. Ben is just crushing here. This is just hilarious. From a relatively normal position with, you know, one could argue a concession. You really gotta play a5 here. And then just ripping open the king side, getting this pinwheel. Hold on. Could you not take the bishop? And it's better than what happened. Yeah, that's just... Oh, this is just like conceding. Yeah. Carnegie Mellon just in complete shambles. Duke already at 8, only needing 1 draw to win. That's just ridiculous. Okay, let's take a look at Leo's game. Leo's king is in the center of the board. Yeah, we saw this. That was in a different game. Oh wow. See, I thought I just saw this before, but that was Leo's other game. It was like deja vu. And yeah, winning on d3, but running away with the king to the queen side. And this is very curious here. King can't move away because tied to this pawn here. Whoa. F5. Oh, because after takes, you can't move the knight. And you're not even taking the pawn, you're just taking it. So you win the knight back immediately. And White just has a million pawns. Yeah, Leo, not the cleanest of games, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Gordon taking down RTD. I want to see this beat down because this just wins Duke the game. So yeah, after an exchange of bishops, the queen is attempted to be traded off, but Gordon realizing that, hey, I can just attack instead. And now all of Black's pieces in passive positions. I mean, it seems like, yeah, queen should be coming over. I mean, I would be bringing the queen over here. But look at all these holes. I mean, do these people not play Bughouse? You're just going to get completely demolished. The knight rerouting to f6. Oh. 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 I guess the only move is this. So the after takes two, but that's just nasty. Yeah, Ben and Gordon. 3 for 3, and that's enough. I mean, it doesn't even matter what Barnabas and Leo do. Let's take a look at Barnabas's game. He was in that weird Caro. It looks a little bit untangled, assuming material is equal. Yeah, the material is equal. And now, despite a rocky opening, seems like things are going... Oh, what? And then the rook is just hung. And this... yeah, all Barnabas has to do is not hang a fork. And I mean... this is just completely winning for Black. Wow. A fork is hung, but it doesn't matter. He has to get out of that. Yeah, smart. Attacking the pawn, but saying, I'm going to trade off the rooks. Now that the rook is behind the pawn, there's not... I don't even know what that is. Just here, and then... this is just so ugly. This is just ugly. This is a completely dominant performance from Duke here. The Duke A team really showing off here. I mean, the next games are just going to be wildly crazy. Chess Dudu taking down Leo. Looks like the only person that Carnegie Mellon can beat is Leo today. Given that Barnabas is, despite playing a stupid opening, is still completely just demolishing. And threatening a mate. You can't be doing this. I mean, you can't trade off. I mean, I guess the position is completely won anyways. There should be a resignation here. In fact, I'm going to mark it on this score sheet. 10 to 2 going into the last round. It's not even close, this one. It's a complete landslide victory. Barnabas, Ben, and Gordon, the triple threat from Duke, all above 2,300. Not at the beginning of the season, mind you. At the beginning, only Ben and Barnabas were. Gordon, clearly playing very well, was able to rise in rating and is actually now the highest rated at Duke. I mean, we've been watching him for, a few weeks now, and every week, he just doesn't lose. He just doesn't lose. Yeah, so this is just crazy. I don't know how CMU was able to beat Vanderbilt with like a 2,700, 2,500. But maybe they had some stomach issues or something. I don't know. Crazy. I expect to see some crazy openings in this last round, given it has no consequences, except for rating. But who cares about rating? Yeah, and this is going to be the last CCL game of the season. This is the finals, of course. So, yeah, it's been pretty solid. Duke's A team showing what they're made of. Interestingly, all 4 of these guys are freshmen. Duke recruited some crazy freshmen in the class of 2027. And, they're showing off here. And not one of these guys are upperclassmen. And, I was looking at some of the Duke players, and, if you pit all the freshmen versus every other grade, the freshmen would win. They're just too insane. Too insane. And we're going to see if they do decide to play the last game. I mean, Carnegie Mellon may be just walking away saying, I don't even want to play. It's just a forfeit. Let's take a look at the CCL. NACE Star League here. Because, I wouldn't want to play after just losing that completely. Looks like Game 4 has been started. Let's see if any of the people are deciding to play. They are deciding to play. Great. We're going to get 4 more games here. No stress for Duke here. Ooh, the 2 NMs are pitted against each other. Let's see what type of crazy shit Ben decided. No Alakine. I'm disappointed. I'm an Alakine player. A boring Rui Lopez. Come on, Ben. You gotta do better than this. What the? Wow. A blunder in the opening. And White simply having 2 pieces for the rook. That's ugly. Come on, Ben. It's the last round. You gotta play something more interesting. You play a Rui. Play Spanish and then drop 2 pieces for... Come on, dude. Okay, I'm not even gonna watch you anymore. That's just embarrassing. Gordon versus any crazy openings here. Yo, we love to see this. The hippopotamus opening. Gordon giving no respect to Baron's back. Some weird Benoni structure now, but there's this pawn on d5 that's able to push forward. Queen promptly defends. And the rook coming to a7. Oh, you hate to see. This is hilarious. We love to see this. This is what gets you airtime. Gordon demonstrating how to effectively make me watch you. Let's briefly take a look at Barnabas's game to see how he's faring against Chestudu. Another standard opening. C4, 95, F4. Dropping a pawn, but getting the rook to the center. Pretty complicated. White's king a little bit exposed. Let's go back to Gordon's game. Very dynamic. Both kings are relatively weak. Black's slightly weaker. C5 pawn is a problem. defended by the rook. But yeah, I mean, this is not looking hot. F5 hanging. You can take on C4, but I don't know. Probably something like rook H5 and H7 is hard to defend. Also, if you like trade on F8 and play king takes, then there's bishop H6, maybe. Knight F6, pretty normal. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Ben's game is liquidated into an endgame. Barney's game. Pretty dynamic here. Both kings are pretty weak. Is there going to be some rook F7? Is there going to be some knight E4? Not too sure. Rook F7 does hit. And then rook to D8 to defend that. Makes sense. And yeah, this is also liquidated into an endgame. Black having a passed pawn, but it's going to get lost. So white simply up a pawn. Though there are two play on both sides of the board, so the bishop is slightly better than the knight. But is that worth a pawn? Probably not. And there's no way you can take this knight right now. Oh, that's how I feel. Since there's no stakes. Gordon's game's the only one with some material left. Bishop to H6. I don't really get it. I'll be honest. I don't really get it. I just want to take rook D6. Yeah, rook D6, and now... I mean, Stockfish having a field day, saying that white is completely winning. But, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why not king h8? Oh. Now I kind of get it. Wow. Now there's going to be rook f1 next. The queen can't even come to b6. Because the knight. You go to b8, then the pawn hangs. Yeah, I think black's position is busted. I didn't see this queen e5 after queen g3. Yep. Barnabas beating chess doo-doo. Probably just pushing it in. Oh, he forked the bishop, it looks like. Wow, that's nasty. Oh, you've seen another one of these too, where the king gets deflected. Barnabas, a huge performance. 4 out of 4. Saying, even when I don't care, I'm still going to win. That's how cool he is. Benjamin Yan. Just that. This exchange at least is not 2 bishops. But the rook here is kind of flimsy. And clumsy as well. He can start moving around, but I mean, at the end of the day, everything can be protected, especially just after bishop. Here. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. Let's see if Gordon can pull something out of his ass. Hung a bunch of pawns, instead going for activity. Queen to d2. Wow. Oh! Shit! What the hell? That's hilarious. So White was completely winning. But Black got activity, used a tactic to win a pawn back, and then simply White just hung his rook. And Gordon's never going to lose this in time pressure. And just oh my god. Wait. Oh, he can't even take on the a5. Oh. And now you just... There's no mate here ever. But... no risks too, I guess. Oh, there's a mate threat. Nullified. Wow. Ridiculous, bro. That's just simply ridiculous. Ben falling to the team, and simply the pawn push. Gordon and Barnabas taking 2 games. And that's just the end. I don't know if Leo played the last one. But, yeah. Gordon and Ben doing a huge win. My Excel is broken. The stream... Oh. 12. 12-4, assuming that Leo forfeited. That's just a complete domination of Carnegie Mellon. Thanks for watching.